Having queries like what and how we can do good design? So, in this Skillup series, we'll be talking about crap. No, I don't mean that. Skillup is a series of videos created by employees of Spiralogics to help working professionals improve their skill and knowledge on topics centered around project management, software development, communications, operations management, and DevSecOps. Here SCRAP stands for C for contrast, R for repetition, A for alignment, and P for proximity. Before going into details, why good design is crap? In a workspace, somehow, somewhere, you may need to work in documentations, annual reports, presentations, posts, analyzing our design, etc. Lastly, the goal is to make all your work look better. So, how could we achieve this? For this, let us start with C for contrast. Contrast simply means making things different that are not similar. The principle of contrast states that contrast various elements of the piece to draw the reader's eye into the piece. The fact is, contrast on a page draws our eyes to it, that is, our eyes like contrast. So, the purpose of contrast is to create an interest in the page, and the other is an organization of the information. Contrast can be done through colors, shapes, sizes, spaces, line thickness, typeface choices, font width, etc. Keep in mind that contrasting elements should never be confusing for the viewers or a reader. R for repetition. Repetition means to repeat certain elements, their consistency that makes the element belong to same thing. The principle of repetition states, repeat some aspect of the design throughout the entire page. Here, we often call it being consistent. The purpose of repetition is to unify and also to add visual interest. Repetition elements can be anywhere, like in header, subheader, pages numbers, in documents or books, illustration or line elements, which gives sense of complete design. Keep in mind that you do not overuse the repetition element. That becomes annoying and overwhelming. Also, be conscious of the value contrast. A for alignment. Alignment means to make all elements on the page appear to be unified, connected, making visual tie between separate elements. The principle of alignment states that nothing should be placed on the page arbitrarily. Every element should have some visual connection with another element on the page. Its basic purpose is to unify and organize. Keep in mind, where you place elements, you can always find something else on the page to align with, even if the two objects are physically far away from each other. P for proximity. Proximity means to organize by simply grouping or keeping elements together which are related. Closeness implies a relationship. The principle of proximity helps you to focus on space and what it can do for communication. Its basic purpose is to organize. Other principles come into play as well, but simply grouping related elements together into closer proximity automatically creates organization. If the information is organized, it is more likely to be read and more likely to be remembered. Keep in mind to avoid many separate elements on page, avoid leaving equal amounts of white space between elements unless each group is part of related subset. Avoid even a split second of confusion over whether a headline, subhead, caption, graphic, or the like belongs with its related material. Create a relationship among elements with close proximity. Do not create relationship with elements that don't belong together. If they are not related, move them apart from each other. And lastly, don't stick things in the corners or in the middle just because the space is empty. The principle of proximity is rarely the only answer to a design task or a project. The other three principles are intrinsic to the process. You will usually find yourself using all four principles. Start with proximity and other principle with appropriate spacing. As you now know what the crab means and what are the things we need to keep in mind, let us take an example of dull report and apply each of the four principles in turn. Firstly, let us start with proximity. Keep the related things closer and separating items that are not directly related to each other. Now it's clear that two topics are closely related to each other. After that, let us use alignment to keep the entire page unified by aligning every object with an edge of some other object. Here, even though the author's name is far from the title, there is a visible connection, an invisible line between the two elements because of strong alignment to each other. Repetition is a stronger form of being consistent. We should look out for the element that we can use as a repetitive element. It helps strengthen the reader's sense of recognition of entity. We can repeat the typeface and color in the title and author name, which strengthens their connections, even though they are physically far apart on the page. And additionally, we can add dotted line. Even though they are not of the same length, it would be sort of wedged throughout the document and can still be seen as repetitive element. Lastly, we can add contrast through font choice and thick bold font type, which brings out even more contrast, as well as let's use all caps versus lowercase. So, using all this, we can achieve good design. Hope you learned something and use this grab and have a good design. Till then, keep making good design.